Good morning. And yay, I say good morning and I get applause. It's awesome. We'll have to do that every week. It's now part of the service. Welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura. I am Pastor Erik Halseth. I use he, they pronouns, and it is great to be back. Welcome to everyone here in the sanctuary, and welcome to all of you on Zoom, wherever you may be. Whether you've been attending this church for decades or it's your first time here, I'm glad you've joined us. This community is the special place that it is precisely because it is made up of people with many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders, and all are welcome here. Announcements. Oh, and it's the first Sunday. I will get this right this time. We have a masking section if you didn't know or if you're new, and we ask that if you're sitting in that section to wear a mask. Let's see here. Circle dinners are back. Sign-ups? Yes, yay. I love circle dinners. It was one of my introductions to Unitarian Universalism. You can sign up in Berg Hall after today's service to attend a circle dinner on August 28th or 29th. It's a fun way to get to know a few members of the congregation better, the people who come to the dinner. It's small. Is it like going to be 8 people or so?
4 to 8.
4 to 8 people. So much smaller than coffee hour, for example. And you can contact Sue Brinkmeyer if you have any questions. August 16th, there's going to be a Scouting America informational meeting after church. We will go against everything that they're doing right now and just be the best affirming Scouting USA troop we can be, regardless of what poor decisions are made by Scouting USA at a national level. That's my soapbox for the day. Boys and girls age 11 to 17 are the ages of people who can be there, and actually boys and girls is incorrect. It's anybody, regardless of how they identify gender-wise, and of course this is going to be a very affirming Scouting USA troop. The women's groups here at the church need your help. It's a short, occasional commitment of time, and the groups need someone who can assist in finding a space in an existing group. So like an administrator of the groups, the committee head of the group. I don't know what to call it. It doesn't say. It just says someone to help. If a new group needs to start, if somebody needs to find a spot in an existing group, so on and so forth. Rena Pizzuto will be happy to assist and give you any information she has, but no longer is going to be filling that role. So please contact Rena ASAP. Your help will make any of the people who are going to the women's groups feel welcome. Thank you. And help us celebrate Trina's birthday after the service. There is going to be carrot cake to enjoy along with your coffee and conversation. So a birthday celebration, wonderful. And as always, please read UUCV this week for more information. Our land acknowledgement each week lifts up the Chumash of Mitzconacan, now known as Ventura, and Satakoy, who have stewarded their ancestral and unceded territory for at least the last 11,000 years. This service takes place on land only a few miles from either Chumash village. We honor the Chumash of Mitzconacan and Satakoy, as well as other historic Chumash locations in Ventura County. And we include their ancestors, elders, and descendants as they continue their deep spiritual and cultural connections to these lands and waters. Having just been up at De Benneville Pines, our UU camp, if you don't know what it is, I can tell you all about it. There's a bulletin board in there. I was up there for the last week serving as co-minister for the family camp. I encourage each of you to find a way to visit in the coming year. The sound of the wind blowing through the pines, the granite poking up through the soil on the forest floor, the natural beauty of rugged mountains exemplified. It is a sacred place. Or go to the beach and just practice stillness. Experience the sand, the water, and the crashing waves. It is a sacred place. But today, in this moment, we are here. We are together in community, and that is a wonderful thing. This is sacred space. May it be so. There's a lot of kids here now.
Good morning. I am Worship Associate Xina Kingshill. I'm not going to talk about ice cream today. It's great to be here with all of you, both those here in the sanctuary and those of you streaming from home. Friends at home are invited to light a candle as any child or young at heart who wants to come up and help light the chalice, please come up. We would love to have some new chalice lighters. And Pastor Erik will give you immediate training. Oopsie. I will read the chalice lighting words while this is happening. We gather between the vast sky and the deep sea. The endless blue above inspires our highest ideals. The waters below remind us of our shared connection. Where the sea and the sky meet, we join as one community and light this chalice, a beacon to guide our journey. Beautiful. Thank you. Our call to worship today is by Patricia Montley in celebration of Earth's waters. Give thanks for all the waters that be, for bays and gulf and shining seas, for rivers that flow like meandering snakes, for wells in the desert and great mountain lakes, for vastness of oceans unparagoned, for each fishing hole and tiny frog pond, for Atlantic, Pacific, and the blue Aegean, for the Baltic, the Bering, and the Caribbean, for the Nile and the Niger and Amazon, for the Mississippi, Missouri, and the Yukon, for the Rhine and the Rhone and the Rio Grande, for the Tigris, Euphrates, and sacred Ganges, for the Thames, the Seine, the Shannon, the Po, for the Darling, the Uruguay, and the mighty Congo. May these giving waters and all the rest, with our careful tending, be ever blessed. Come, let us be giving waters together this morning.
Well, good morning, all. I'm Zach Spencer. I invite you all to rise in spirit or in body as you're able, even if you are streaming from home, as we sing number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Still my dry
Okay, and now's the time. I'd like to invite all the young folks up and young at heart folks up. Anyone who wants to go under that bridge of love is welcome to come up and listen to the story up here. Wow, that's quite a haul today, and I didn't even mention it. You all just knew exactly what to do. That's really wonderful. Thank you. Our story today is From Tree to Sea by Shelley Moore Thomas, and the art is by Christopher Silas Neal. Earth shows me many things. Trees show me how to stand tall. Even when the wind tries to blow me down, I dance with the breeze. I do not fall. Stones show me how to be strong. If I am kicked around sometimes, like a rock in the road, I just roll along. Oceans show me how to travel far and wide. I see all there is to see, but I always return with a friendly wave. The sun shows me that brightness brings warmth to others. I smile and shine when things look dim. Clouds show me how to rise up and float above problems. I am so light, I cannot be weighed down. Bees show me how to work hard and to help others. When work is shared, the rewards are as sweet as honey. A baby bird shows me how not to be afraid to spread my wings and fly. I'll never find out how high I can soar unless I try. Soil shows me how to support those around me. I care for tiny seeds until their roots are strong and their leaves reach for the sky. Good things can grow from me. Cats show me how to be curious. I playfully explore the world around me. I study, I ponder, I learn. Whales show me the wonder of big things and small things. I dream big dreams, yet I can take only small strokes, one at a time, to make them come true. The moon shows me that even when I change, I am still me. Sometimes it's round and pearly, sometimes only a sliver, but the moon is still the moon, no matter what. And I am always me, no matter what. What can the whale, the stars, the flower, or the mountain show you? From dirt to cloud, from sun to moon, from tree to sea, there is a wide and wonderful world out there, waiting just open your eyes, you will find it. And that's the end of today's story. Let's form our bridge of love, and the children will wait. Bridge, okay? Thank you, kids.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. Nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
Every Sunday, whatever lands in the collection box or is submitted electronically via text doesn't stay here. We pass it along to organizations making a difference in the wider community or to funds that support members of our own congregation. It's one way we put our values into motion, turning generosity into action and helping build a more compassionate world now and for the future. Folks in the sanctuary can text to give by following the number on the screen, or you can drop a check or cash in the box that's at the very back of the sanctuary, either during the offertory music or after the service. Today's offering goes to our own InReach Outreach Fund, which helps people in our congregation and also people who come to our attention for whom a timely but relatively small financial gift could make a big difference. Recently, a new resident of the Valentine Road Apartments, which provides permanent supportive housing to people who were experiencing homelessness, this new resident had finally gotten her life together. She was in the habit of selling her jewelry near Michael's craft store to make money for medical treatment for her dogs and to go to school online. While there, she came into contact with a wonderful gentleman who offered her a car for a very affordable price. So she had an appointment to renew the car's registration. But despite that, a police officer who noticed the expired plate wrote a citation and had the car towed. She was upset and despondent, but our InReach Outreach Fund, combined with other generous and caring folks, helped her get her PT Cruiser, who she named Betty, back in her possession. Thank you for your generosity that allows us to provide timely and needed help to folks in our church and the greater community.
I hear the wind across the plain, a sound so strong it calls my name. It's wild like the river, it's warm like the sun. Yes, it's here, this is where I belong. Under the starry skies where eagles have flown, this place is paradise, it's the place I call home. The moon on the mountains, the whispers through the trees, the waves on the water, let nothing come between this and me. 'Cause everything I want is everything that's here. And when we're all together, there's nothing wherever I wander, the one thing I've learned, yes, it's to hear I will always, always return.
Thank you for your generosity today. Whether you give, receive, volunteer, or simply show up with an open heart, you are part of this shared work of building a more compassionate world. Each week, we take a few moments to pause in the middle of our busy lives to notice what is shaping us right now. Today, we place stones into the water. Each stone holds a small piece of what we are holding inside. As it touches the surface, ripples move outward, reminding us how connected we are to one another. If you would like to have a joy or sorrow shared on a Sunday morning, you can submit it through the link on our website, uuventura.org, or through our Thursday email, UUCV this week. If it's received by 8 p.m. on Saturday, it will usually be shared the next day. Pastor Erik will now place one final stone in the water for all the joys and sorrows just shared and those yet unspoken in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. May these joys and sorrows remind us that our lives are bound together and that in this community, no one carries them alone.
Please remain seated as we sing our meditation hymn, number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky. Touch the earth, reach the sky, walk on shores while spirits fly, over the ocean, over the land, of faith a quest to understand. Touch the earth, reach the sky, children ask the reasons why. In our lives the answers show, and by our love they learn to grow. Touch the earth, reach the sky, all are born and all shall die. Life's the time left in between, to follow a star, to build a dream. Touch the earth, reach the sky, hug the laughter, feel the cry. May we see where we can give, and for this is what it means to live. Touch the earth, reach the sky, soar with courage ever high, spirits joining as we fly, to touch the earth, to reach the sky.
Our reading today is The Poet Dreams of the Mountains by Mary Oliver. Sometimes I grow weary of the days with all their fits and starts. I want to climb some old gray mountains, slowly taking the rest of my lifetime to do it, resting often, sleeping under the pines or above them on the unclothed rocks. I want to see how many stars are still in the sky that we have smothered for years now, a century at least. I want to look back at everything, forgiving it all, and peaceful, knowing the last thing there is to know. All that urgency, not what the earth is about. How silent the trees, their poetry being of themselves only. I want to take slow steps and think appropriate thoughts. In 10,000 years, maybe a piece of the mountain will fall.
Today's meditation will be a little different than what I've been doing recently. I'm going to read an affirmation of nature as we close our eyes, we place our feet upon the floor, and we breathe in and we breathe out. Noticing our breath both as it comes in and it goes out. I affirm the earth as sacred in my life, because I am dust, and to the dust I will return. We are the living earth. She moans next to me, and together, with me, she will be liberated. I affirm water as sacred in my life. Water that has been both a pleasure and a refreshment for tired bodies from generation to generation. We are fresh water. It gives us life as it runs through our veins and revives us for the journey ahead. I affirm life on earth as sacred, life that bursts into the world stubbornly against death. We are connected in life, the harmonious vitality of dignity that becomes a life in harmony. I affirm plants and animals as sacred in my life because of the relationship that binds us. We are one with everything, trees and fungi, fish and wild beasts, birds and insects. We have flesh and roots that bear witness to the creative and creating universe. I affirm wind as sacred in my life because it is subversively democratic. We are a holy breeze, a sacred spirit that blows everywhere to give breath to suffocated lives. I affirm death as sacred in my life when it is worthy and comes when it must at the right time. We are born from stardust, and death does not have the last word. We do not live to die, but we die to become part of the universe again. Therefore, I affirm my faith in the sacredness of earth, water, life, plants, and animals. I affirm my faith in the sacred touch that is the wind, breath of life, and liberation.
The song we want to share with you today is called Lean In Toward the Light, and it's a song with call and response. So your line, as Kent and I issue a call, is for you. Xina will lead you to sing, Lean In Toward the Light. You'll hear many notes because we're going to harmonize with that. Pick a note and join us.
And I'll wave.
Into winter is the coldest season, but quietly beneath the snow, seeds are stretching out and reaching, faithful as the morning glow.
Carry nothing but what you must.
Lean in toward the
Let it
light.
go, shake off the dust.
Lean in toward the light. Today is now, tomorrow beckons.
Lead in toward the light.
Practice and resurrection.
Lead in toward the light. The shadows of this world will say, there's no hope, why try anyway? But every kindness, large or slight, shifts the balance toward the light.
Waters wind and open wide.
Lean toward the light.
Don't just walk when you can fly.
Lead in toward the light. When justice seems in short supply,
Lean in toward the
let beauty
light.
be your truest guide.
Lean in toward the light. Shadows of this world will say, there's no hope, why try anyway? But every kindness, large or slight, shifts the balance toward the light.
The prayer I pray at eventide,
Lean in toward the
all
light.
left undone be put aside.
Lean in toward the light. When forgiveness is hard to find.
Lead in toward the light.
Help me at least to be kind.
Lead in toward the light. Lead in toward the light. Lead in toward the light. Lead in toward the light.
Thank you, Kent and Sue, and special guest star, Xina. Well, I promise today will not be a travel monologue. It will be a little bit about the last 2 weeks. But, well, we'll see what happens. 2 weeks ago today, Sunday, I arrived at my destination for the first week of our family vacation. I woke each morning to fog drifting across Noyo Harbor in Fort Bragg, which is on the Mendocino coast in Northern California. Fishing boats disappeared into the mist before sunrise, carrying either commercial operators who were going to feed us at lunch and dinner later that day, or those fishing for sport who were going to try to keep their catch frozen for the trip back to wherever they had come from. The gulls argued with one another, carried on the currents that wafted up the cliff face to our balcony that overlooked the last few hundred yards of the Noyo River below. And the tide and the weather ignored every schedule we had thought about for the week. Then, with a one-day break back at home, over the course of the last week, I woke each morning among the rocks and pines on the north slope of Mount San Gorgonio, where the wind moves through branches instead of the rigging of fishing trawlers. The updrafts carry hawks instead of seagulls. And oh, to wake to a dense fog like this morning, the one I drove through while I was driving here, that would keep the forest floor cool for a few extra hours before the afternoon heat settles in. But I opened my car door to a hot fog. It has been warm. And those days of an empty and ignored schedule, not the same when you're one of the ministers at de Benneville Pines for 81 people who are there for a week of camp. It's a different place for sure than Fort Bragg, But the same feeling of nature being a source of healing and rest was there too. Why do places like this recharge us? Why do they teach us lessons? So Noyo Harbor is a working harbor. It's not like Newport, where you go down there and it's like, I don't know what. It's like Disneyland, right? You go to California Adventure and there's that whole little harbor and it's all like a facade, right? Noyo Harbor is just working buildings and some restaurants, and that's it, and fishing boats and a big Coast Guard boat that goes out every night to escort boats in because the ocean is rough and it's dangerous sometimes coming through the inlet. The ocean teaches us humility. You know, I grew up in Santa Barbara, and when you look out facing south, right, the coast and all that, what you're looking at is islands. They're 26 miles away, and here they're a little bit closer. If you look at Anacapa, there's a sense of, I don't know, you could get in a kayak and you can paddle to those islands. But when you're not here on the Gold Coast and you look out at the ocean, there's 6,000 miles of nothing unless you happen to hit Midway or someplace like that, a small island north of Hawaii. There's nothing there. The ocean refuses control. I mentioned the Coast Guard cutter that goes out every morning and every evening to escort boats in and out of the harbor, and it's there for a reason. The ocean is not something we can control. It reminds us we are small. Like I said, 6,000 miles. And I don't know how many of you have ever seen truly large waves, like from the beach, or gone out surfing in a wave that is overhead, or double overhead, or 3 times overhead. It is gnarly, to use a surfer term, right? It's powerful. We are small compared to the power of the ocean. And the ocean existed before us. It is literally the progenitor of all life on Earth. It is where life came from. And it's going to exist after we are long gone. Angus H. MacLean, who was a mid-19th century Universalist religious educator, said it this way: "I brought my spirit to the sea. I stood upon the shore. I gazed upon infinity. I heard the waters roar. And then there came a sense of peace. Some whisper calmed my soul." To paraphrase, the sea dissolves the illusion that we are the center. Now, Thomas Starr King, I talked about him. I'll mention that again. On July 12th, he was part of the sermon that day. He was a noted transcendentalist, author, minister, and activist. Writing about the Sierra Nevada mountains here in California, he said, "The wilderness is God's first temple." Or his writings from the White Hills, which was a book more famous than any other book in America when he wrote it in the mid-1800s. Nature enlarges our thoughts beyond ourselves. Mountains teach perspective. I did a very short version of this up at camp. And I had everyone, if you've ever been there, there's an amphitheater, and it looks out over the valley that goes down to the Santa Ana River. But I had them turn around, and I had them look up at the ridges right behind camp. And I said, if you look to your left some, that's about 1,000 feet up to the top you can see. But if you look a little more to the left, or to your left, right behind you, it's 2,000 feet. And if you look a little more, it's 3,000 feet above you. And if you turn around and you look out at the valley, it's 2,000 or 3,000 feet down to the Santa Ana River. And we're kind of sitting in the middle of that on this steep mountainside. And it gives you a sense of perspective of just how small we are and how long it would take if you said, I'm going to go climb that peak. It'd take a long time. Mountains make us understand size. If you've ever driven out the 10 to Palm Springs, the valley floor to the peak of either Mount San Gorgonio or its twin, Mount San Jacinto on the other side, those are twins, and the valley in between, that is the largest vertical difference between valley floor and the peak of the mountain that there is, I think, at least in California. Well, it's got to be pretty much everywhere. Well, maybe Colorado. I don't know. But the point is, Mount San Gorgonio is 11,300 feet tall. Mount San Jacinto is 10,800 feet tall. And Palm Springs is basically at sea level. And the 10 is what, 1,000 feet, maybe 1,500 feet above sea level? And you're looking up and you're seeing the tallest mountains in Southern California rising above you from wherever you are, from the valley floor to the peak. The mountains slow time. When you're walking in the mountains, whether you're at camp or you're in the Sierras or you're on a hike up at Rose Valley off the 33 here, time doesn't move the same way because you can't drive your car. The trail's only a foot wide, and you're not supposed to ride your bicycle or a motorcycle in wilderness areas, right? It's for hiking or horseback. You begin noticing, as time slows down, the light coming through the trees, the dust in the air, reflecting the light. And there's a silence that only gets filled by, if you're at camp, you know, it's squirrels screaming at each other, the bark of the camp dog, the laughter of children playing in the pool. It does break that silence, but it's a nice break. What you don't hear is a freeway right next to you, maybe the occasional car, but not the rush of cars going past. And there are birds everywhere, peeping, making songs, fighting with the squirrels for whatever they're eating. And there's the wind blowing through the trees. And it's your breathing, imitating the wind as you walk, and you're at 7,000 feet, right? And so breathing's a little labored unless you're like a triathlete or something. The mountain says, you don't have to hurry. You can slow down and listen to your heart. So on the one hand, the sea teaches movement. Well, the mountains teach stillness. And the spirit needs both. Too much movement and we're scattered. Too much stillness and we're stagnant. A healthy spiritual life alternates between the two. But we are not in these places forever. I can't move to a rugged coastal town with no UU church, and Southern California's UU camp doesn't need a full-time minister 24/7, 365. Plus, I love where I live, and I love where I work. But perhaps the answer is not leaving the world behind forever to live in a place that grants transcendent moments minute by minute and hour by hour. We go up to the mountains, whether to Bentonville Pines, the Sierra Nevada, the White Mountains that Thomas Starr King wrote about back in New Hampshire, or elsewhere. Or we go to the coast, which for those of you who live here in Ventura or Oxnard, it might just be yards from your house. And in the process of experiencing nature, we gain perspective on what's important. Thomas Starr King, who I talked about a few weeks ago, found that balance. So back on July 12th, I read a selection from a sermon titled Lessons from the Sierra Nevada that Starr King wrote in 1863. And here's a really shortened version. I believe that if on every Sunday morning before going to church, we could be lifted to a mountain peak and see a horizon line of 600 miles enfolding the copious splendor of the light on such a varied expanse, the devout spirit would be stimulated so potently that our hearts would naturally mount in praise and prayer. Translated, being in nature, in the natural beauty of the mountains, makes us want to connect with the sacred, whatever form that takes. Or to translate the translation, nature is church, it is a sacred space, and it is all we need to connect to the divine. But for something new, we can look to his book, The White Hills, which was not about the Sierra, because the White Mountains are in New Hampshire. A visit to New Hampshire supplies the most resources to a traveler and confers the most benefit on the mind and taste, when it lifts the traveler above mere appetite for wilderness, ruggedness, and the feeling of mass and precipitous elevation into a perception and love of the refined grandeur, the chaste sublimity, the airy majesty overlaid with tender and polished bloom, in which the landscape splendor of a noble mountain lies. Translated, being in nature, in the natural beauty of the mountains, lifts our spirits and builds our appreciation for the transcendent possibility found among the peaks. Or, to translate the translation, nature is church, nature is a sacred space, and it is all we need to connect to the divine. But also recall from July 12th and later in his sermon about the Sierras, Starr King writes, "We are not to live outside of the world, but in it, feeling its passions, working in its interests, striving to do our duty in its trials." He reminds us that sequestering ourselves as a spiritual hermit is not the answer. And this wasn't just lip service by a minister who had a lot of privilege to travel extensively through the White Mountains or the Sierra Nevada of California at a time when they weren't accessed by just driving there in your car. He talked the talk, but he also walked the walk. And as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, he did the work of justice regarding the Civil War, and he paid the ultimate price for that tireless work. But his sermons and writing were not the only place he approached this topic of a duty to the secular trials of humankind. In The White Hills, he ties the transcendental experience of being in nature to what he calls the conscious world, or what we would call real life. Nature is hieroglyphic. Each prominent fact in it is like a type. Its final use is to set up one letter of the infinite alphabet and help us by its connections to read some statement or statute applicable to the conscious world. He also says the following: hearts are strongest when they beat in response to noble ideals. So regardless of where and when he was traveling and writing, he understood that his work in the real world was the most important thing he was doing. That working toward the solution of the daily problems he faced, that we face today, was and is the end goal. Now, being back after 2 weeks of travel, up and down the length of our great and beautiful state, I find myself in a similar place, returning to the work of the real world, refreshed and rejuvenated and ready to take on the tasks of the day. May we each bask in the glorious beauty of the mountains to relax and to recharge. Whether it is the Sierra Nevada, de Benneville Pines on the slopes of Mount San Gorgonio, or just here in the mountains of Ventura County, which are as rugged and wild as any others in the state. And there, may we find time to rest and breathe again. May we each experience the power of waves crashing on the shore, felt, heard, or seen, whether on the rugged coast of Northern California, at the end of 5th Street, or the gentle whispering waves of a sheltered beach like Harbor Cove that are often quieter than the shouts and laughter of all the children splashing and playing. May such places restore us, not so that we may retreat from the world, but so that we may return to it, renewed in spirit, steadfast in love, and ready to do our part when the world asks something of us. And may we hold the sacred places we find in nature, whether Camp de Benneville Pines, our favorite piece of coastline, or even just a simple patio garden on an apartment balcony. May we hold these places in our hearts and minds as we find time to rest, recharge, and re-engage with what really matters, the real world and all those we cherish within it. Blessed be Bishamale, and Amen.
Well, I invite you all to rise in spirit or physically as you are able as we sing a song from the Sing Out Love digital hymnal, My Spirit Belongs to the Sky. The mountains at night, the bright wheeling stars, framed by pines circled round. In the boughs high above, the rush of the wind. In the dark I hear no other sound. In the wind, in the trees, fills the sails of my soul, and my heart soars high. For I come from the earth, and to earth I'll return. But my spirit belongs to the sky. The showers of spring on the wide western plains, sunlight breaks through the gray. The blustering wind whirls round me again and sweeps me along on my way. And the wind at my back fills the sails of my soul, and my heart soars high. For I come from the earth, and to earth I'll return. But my spirit belongs to the sky. For I come from the earth, and to earth I'll return. But my spirit belongs to the sky.
After the service, we hope that everyone will stay for coffee, tea, bagels, and conversation in Berg Hall through the open doors over there. If you haven't yet, you can drop off your offering in the box on the back wall. And if you're visiting, we'd love to meet you. Stop by the connecting table to say hello, or the welcome table for information about this faith and our congregation. And there isn't any ice cream left this week, but we do have cake for Trina's birthday. And now, please join me in reading the words on the screen as we prepare to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Today's benediction is a little bit long. Bear with me. It was for camp. It was a blessing for the coming year, and I've adapted it to the coming week. May we leave church carrying a deeper, wider understanding of what gratitude can be. Not just the gratitude of abundance, but the gratitude of survival, the gratitude of resilience, the gratitude whispered by those who have crossed oceans, borders, and thresholds in search of safety, dignity, and home. May we remember that the American story has never been a single story. Our spiritual forebearers, the Pilgrims, the Puritans, the original Congregationalists who split and became Unitarians, were not the first to live on this land, and they are not a template for what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist today. Across generations, the fabric of this land has been woven by those who arrived with heavy hearts, trembling hope, and the belief that life could still unfold toward possibility. As we leave church today, May we honor the ancestors of this land, the indigenous peoples whose generosity was met with harm, and may we honor also the more recent ancestors of our own lineages, those who fled war and oppression, those who left poverty, those who chased opportunity, those who came unwillingly in the bellies of the slave ships, or those who could not come here at all. Their stories, too, are sacred. May the gratitude we practice this coming week until we arrive at church next Sunday be honest. May it stretch us beyond nostalgia and myth. May it remind us that welcome is a verb, and may every generation know that they are called to widen the table again and again. And as we go forth, may we carry with us the courage of those who journeyed far, the compassion to listen across difference, and the commitment to build a community where no one's story is forgotten and no one's voice is left outside the circle of belonging. Blessed be Bishamale, and amen.